They should be able to hear you once I get. I'm gonna test something. Okay. Alrighty. You're live. No delay. I don't have. I can't change title. You're right. All right. Let me check see if we're live really quickly. I don't have any music, so it's just blank. Yeah, season 7 of Youth Esports. It's we're chilling right now. So once. No, it's not delayed right now. It should be live. Alrighty. Going back to Discord to see. I think Home and OK should be doing the announcement. Once the announcement hits, we're gonna go back to what else do we need? I think we might. Well, I think we just add everyone in media plugs, please. No, they can't. What? Alrighty, I'm moving us over. All right. They can't. What? Oh, that makes sense. Alrighty. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Re-Oath, season 2, episode 1. uh, we are back at it. Re-Oath is back, and we're here for season 2. Here's my co-host line somewhere. Yeah, over there.
Yeah, I'm here. Good to see everyone
And we're here to talk about both stuff that happened this past week in the games, stuff that's going on in esports right now, and other things that are just going on in general in the gaming community.
I love esports.
Esports is so cool.
All right, what do we want to get started on, Will?
I have no idea. Let me get my notes out really quickly.
You don't even know.
Okay, I got my notes.
We take over the Twitch channel. We barely know what we're doing. Let's
exactly.
Go.
So, the first thing I want to talk about is World Cup. Is because that's kind of the biggest thing that's happening in the Overwatch community right now. Because that's at BlizzCon, and so one of the things I thought was really funny is they started the first match. They were streaming it on Play Overwatch and Contenders and stuff like that. And they were co-streaming it. And then 2 maps in, right? This is a freaking banger of a match. They decide to stop streaming the match and just go to the main event of BlizzCon. What the frick? They just stopped streaming the original, the actual match. And they went over to the BlizzCon and they just kept playing the match too. Like, you could have stopped the match. You could have planned this out to where they didn't, I don't know. They just sold that.
That was question. They announced the new tank. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They announced the new tank, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though.
How do you pronounce his name? Mauga?
Mauga? I just call him Maui.
that is so true. Maui. He does look like Maui.
It's just freaking Maui. They should have
Yeah.
collaborated with Disney, low-key.
Is there what I heard from like a stream chat and stuff was that there was an emote, because he like moves, he like bounces his pecs and stuff like that. Is there an emote that he does that? Is there an emote?
I don't know. I have no clue.
I think
wouldn't
that'd be
know.
hilarious if there was. He just like heroic is just, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you watched World Cup?
Yeah, I've been watching it. I've watched the USA China match, which was kind of sad. Being a person who lives in the United States of
All I'm
America.
saying, they had Super. I don't know how they lose.
Yeah,
Personally.
that's crazy because I think out of the two players that they could have put in, like Luge or Super, I think Super was the better like choice because whenever they played him against Saudi Arabia, the best Sigma player in the world was the worst player in the lobby.
Yeah, it was. I think it was mental, and
Yeah,
I think Super's better team leader.
yeah, that's for sure. I think Super definitely has a lot more experience, like playing on a stage and stuff like that. And it's really hard to beat Super. Like, just he knows how to team like play, and I don't know, he's been there for a long time, and he's got a lot of experience.
Yeah, I think Coolidge is still the better Sigma, but
Yeah, like
there
for
wasn't.
sure.
There was something wrong.
Yeah.
Something wrong.
It's kind of like the payoff of like, do you want a good Sigma player or do you want a good team leader? And I think what they were lacking is Super's Sigma was good enough to where it didn't really matter. He was just a better team leader overall, and so that just kind of got them to win over Japan, but they didn't win over China. And China looked really, really good. The fact that you can play Doomfist into a Sigma comp like that is it's kind of impressive,
Yeah. World Cup's exciting, and I believe right now, let me double check. We have Korea and China, and Finland and Saudi Arabia.
I'm
Team from China. My bad.
Yeah. So I really like the bracket was like kind of, I don't like the bracket because China and Korea are gonna play in the semifinals, not in the finals. Come on, like that was the two. We knew those teams were gonna like play against each other, but yet they have to play in the semifinals.
Someone has to go. It's whatever.
Yeah. Maggie, yeah.
Maga is definitely inspired by Maui. I refuse. Or wait, when did Moana release?
I have no idea. I think like 2020,
Or
2019.
Moana? I can't. Moana's a cow secretly.
Yeah.
2016? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Can we get Dwayne the Rock Johnson to voice Mauga?
When I was talking to my dad, he actually thought that, I think, or something funny. It was, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, like kind of back to the World Cup. What were some of the players that like impressed you?
God, too many.
Yeah.
I think I'm peeling out non-Overwatch League players for me. So, well, I was about to say Cal, but he.
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah, I mean we could both have the same player. Yeah.
I would say there was Gala on Spain, I believe. Mm-hmm. He was insane on Ilari and support in general. I never heard of him, and he just came out of nowhere and popped off.
Yeah,
I think who else?
I think Gala. I didn't really watch much of Spain's matches, but when I was kind of paying more attention to like Punk and Crazy Dragon because Crazy Dragon was pretty crazy. I think his Tracer was phenomenal. I don't know why they subbed him out for. I don't remember the other guy's name, but I think Spain's DPS line was really, really good, and Gala, I didn't really. I think he was good on the LR. Yeah.
That's why I screwed the whole only non-Overwatch League players. I saw False was playing really well after. Yeah,
for sure.
After Vancouver and still playing well. I'm pretty happy about that.
That's kind of on that like topic of playing for a bad org and then not flopping is Cal. That was my favorite player that I was impressed by mostly. He played really, really well when he got subbed in, and I think he had a really good flash of brilliance on playing Alari. Like he literally hard carried on Blizzard World.
I'm not gonna lie, he might be the best Alari.
Yeah, and
seems to understand it well.
He was playing for the Gladiators last season of Overwatch League, and he was doing well. He was holding his own, but the Glads just weren't that good that year, and you can't really. Whenever you have that team like the Glads, you are either at the tippity top of your like mental or you're at the bottom. Like that's just how I saw the Glads. Is they were playing either really, really well or they're playing not very well at all.
Yeah, Glads, that was a team. It was going really well and then they fell off, but if it can't be simple. It can't be simple. But for picking him up, I'm honestly not gonna lie. It could have been really unlucky for them. I think Cal's probably the best player they could have picked up for
Yeah,
that
for
team.
sure. Because at the beginning of the season, they kind of take all of the good players, or like the flashiest players that like have the most scouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they picked up Cal like halfway through the season after I think one of their support players got injured.
I think Lastro
Yeah,
wasn't on.
one of them
I
was
think he
either
was
having
on the roster, but he left to Korea at some
yeah.
point.
I think he just had. I think it was either mental or he got hurt, something like that. But Cal was playing really really well, and I want to see more of him later in the future.
Still playing really well.
Yeah,
Outside of that team.
but that's
so.
true. Wait, he's on Team Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stupid.
You forgot? No.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Now that we've kind of started this stream really quickly, I kind of have an announcement to make since like we were supposed to do this earlier, but we're doing another community montage. And so if you guys would just send your clips and highlights, we'll have an announcement this later, so that way everybody sees this. But if you send your clips and highlights, we'll put them into a montage like we did last time, and you guys will see the video. And so I'm gonna be editing that video. But if you guys want to like send me suggestions and songs in the suggestions chat, you guys can send that there for songs that I can do to the background of the montage.
Okay, I got like 20 billion of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I need suggestions because I have my own for my own videos, but then again I need like some for these kind of things.
Yeah, I see.
On the kind of the topic of Overwatch World Cup, do you think the LBB guy on KSA
LBBD7? What
like
do they call him? Labda?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I heard that he was just he was Yasan, but like rebranded himself so that way he wasn't Yasan.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think
that's not true, no.
I don't know. I've never heard of him, but it just came out. I feel like he came out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
He's been playing on that team for a while.
Okay.
Let me check. Saudi Arabia.
But while you're searching,
Also, that would make no sense in my head.
Yeah, I think Quartz was playing really, really well. Like he was doing a lot whenever he was on the.
Quartz was, yeah.
And Quartz was the heroes that he played. Like I was really impressed because he was playing like the Sojourn or the Bash and stuff like that. And one of the things that I'm really glad Saudi Arabia is doing is that they're not playing like Farah, Echo, Cheese anymore since they're not have Dusan. They just kind of they play May, they play Sojourn, they play the actual like meta comps and stuff like that. So it's not cheating their way, and they're actually seeing in a mirror who is the better team and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of glad that they're doing that.
Mm-hmm. Also, if the whole Labda thing, no, that's a different player. That would also be kind of screwed up. So yeah, no.
Because imagine that's what he signed it. He rebranded himself, joins the team as Labda, so that way he could keep his like identity private. Because I don't.
Blizzard would know.
Yeah, we don't even know why he's not at BlizzCon right now.
No, they told him he couldn't. It's not worth talking about. I don't think it's worth talking about here.
All right.
Yeah, he couldn't.
All right. What about what are your thoughts on the recent support changes in Overwatch 2 and how do you think that affected and how do you think that worked?
Okay. I think so a lot of the stuff I saw it's mainly flex support, correct?
Yeah.
That they change?
Yeah. Like Baps in, stuff like that. They also changed life a little bit.
Oh, the early changes are a big one. I'm glad they did this before Illy got out of hand. That character is. So I think the biggest one for me was the Illari changes. I feel like Illari's been really good, but I feel like a little too good. I feel like Illari's literally just a DPS.
Yeah,
there were contenders teams putting their DPS players on Illari.
Yeah. We saw.
Like, I don't have a problem with role swapping, but like when the character's that far from their actual role, it's kind of silly.
Yeah, there's a difference between having a support who has good DPS potential and then having a support who has who is their main potential is DPS.
Because but they You're saying my bad.
Oh no, it's fine. But you saw Proper on the San Francisco shot go over to play the Alari, and I think
Yeah.
that itself is a pretty big testament. Is that you're putting your best DPS player on Alari. That means that you're committing to it a lot, and that means you believe that like you're putting your best DPS player on that. I don't know. I think that kind of makes sense.
Because they nerfed the size of the projectiles she shoots
Yeah,
to be very very small. I haven't played a Alara in a minute. I would have to check, but that's like their smallest Sojourn's rail now, which is tiny.
yeah.
And they also made the pylon more punishable. It's now at 50 health.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think Pylon.
or it's 100. It's 100 total HP, so it's not 125 anymore. And when you destroy it, the cooldown's 15 seconds instead of 12. I feel like you're gonna have to understand Alari to a higher extent now, and you're gonna
Yeah,
have to be more consistent with her to have success.
because I was one of the things when I was climbing, I was playing ranked on Alari, is
Hmm.
I would just run down Alari, throw my pylon down, and just DPS things. Like I would throw my pylon in a relevant spot and like pray that it doesn't get destroyed, and just go shoot things. And then I'd farm my ult like every 15 seconds, like one per fight basically, because her ult charge for her fight, because her beam does a lot of healing. She does a lot of DPS. She can get kills by herself. She farms her ult insanely fast, and uh, I just really thought like I just won fights just because of the fact that you
Yeah.
farmed an ult per fight.
I'm really curious to see if players still play Alari as much as they are right now. I don't think as much
I think
by
she's
like a
fun,
lot.
and I think that's also a thing
I think the skill cap on Alari is going to be higher now, though, if that
for sure.
reduced the projectile size.
I think that's always a good
Bat,
thing.
yeah.
I think
I
having
feel like they
high.
all were.
Go ahead.
I feel like all the changes were very like minor, but like they're gonna make a difference.
For sure. I
To
think the
summarize,
direction
'cause-
is okay, but I've heard from people like Spilo that their philosophy for doing supports is not very good, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Um, uh, that then again, that was a YouTube thumbnail, and so you could just be like
Or what?
clickbait, like a YouTube thumbnail, like they clickbait and they over exaggerate or
Yeah.
whatever. But from what I can tell, like apparently one of my teammates, Bossman, he played Overwatch like an hour before the update came out, and then he played it afterwards, and he could tell that there's a night and day difference of the Overwatch, like playing Lucio into like Esports. Apparently, it's
Yeah.
really easy to like, not really easy, but it's easier to kill things. What do you want to support or whatever.
Yeah. And then I'll start the rest of the changes. So Ana got her cooldown on biotic grenade increased from 10 to 12. That's gonna be a difference. New timing on
Yeah,
stuff. You won't have to worry about grenade as much. Bap's ammo got decreased from 150 to 125, and its cooldown got increased from 23 to 25 seconds on it.
yeah.
So
I think
it's not going to be as strong.
for the BAP and more thing, I think as long as it changes the the BAP and more does more than like 75 of their health, it's kind of irrelevant what it's at. Like if it's at 75 or it's at 150, I don't think it's relevant except for the fact that it it's an MR, right? If it was what was it before they buffed it like really really like a lot? Was it like
I can't
30 or
remember
10 or like
exactly.
25? I don't
For the
remember.
cooldown,
Uh
I believe the cooldown used to be 30.
no, I mean like the health that they had.
The health used to be, I think it always was like 150-ish or
Okay.
100.
Maybe it's like percent of somebody's health. I think that's what it is.
Oh, wait, you mean the percentage you keep of health when you're in
Yeah,
it?
that's what I mean. Yeah.
I believe that's at like 10 or 20% now.
Okay.
They haven't changed it
Oh,
yet.
they changed the MR health.
Yeah, not the
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So forget everything I just said.
Yeah. But next up is Kiri's Suzu cooldown got increased by 1 second, 14 to 15. I would say it's pretty minor. I
Yeah,
wouldn't worry about it too
I
much if you're a
think.
Kiri player.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like similar to the honor changes. It doesn't really
Yeah.
change too much, but it definitely does make the character a little bit weaker, and I think that's a good
Yeah.
thing because it doesn't change like incredibly like how you're supposed to play Ana. I think Ana and
Yeah.
Kiriko are still like the same play style because of the even though these changes. But I really think the seconds on what the cooldown is, if it's something that long, it's hard to make those changes correctly and be balanced with this.
I agree. I think those things. I think these things seem very minor, but they're gonna add up
Yeah,
in those little moments,
that's for sure.
moment to
That's
moment situations.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's what are heroes that just kind of kept getting like minor buffs every single patch, and eventually it's like, oh shoot, these guys have been buffed for 5 straight patches in a row.
Yeah. You get
And
the power creep.
yeah,
You
exactly.
keep nerfing these characters, and this character suddenly becomes good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the rest of
Honestly,
the
nothing's
patch
crazy.
notes? If that's all.
So Life Lever got kind of hard nerfed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
think
already that great, but he's kind of back to kind of rough now. So his
Life Weaver is
ammo for
interesting.
healing is reduced from 20 to 16. First things first.
Yeah. I think
And
Life Weaver, it's pretty interesting, right? Life Weaver is
yeah,
good but also bad. Life Weaver does his job, but the job just isn't a very
it
good
isn't the
job.
same as others.
Yeah,
Or
so
it's not the same value you can find of anything
yeah,
else.
so like Pole, like can we compare that to other like immortality field? It keeps the person in the fight more, keeps the person in the fight, and it keeps them alive. And it can be kind of outplayed by the enemy team. But Pole, on the other hand, you don't get to outplay it, and you can't stop it. Even if you can't stop it on the enemy team, and it gets them out of the fight, and it kind of resets the fight for one person. And so it doesn't really change it. Amor can change the outcomes of a fight a lot more than Pole can.
Yeah.
And I think Pole is just really gimmicky. And I think it's really only good in a lot less circumstances. And I think her Life Weaver's healing and platform are just also the same thing. Like it's kind of minute.
I can agree with it. I feel like it's circumstantial. In Life Grip, its cooldown got increased from 16 to 19 seconds, which is pretty sizable in my opinion.
That is huge.
And that's like one of his best abilities, so that's gonna be rough. And his max heal is reduced from 75 to 70. So I feel like he's still the same character, but he can't do as much as he could with his utilities.
Because he
I
did
feel
a
like
lot of
anyway.
healing. He still does, I would guess. But
Yeah.
I'd say the thing that makes Life Weaver just weird is his health is so high.
It
And
is high.
it,
I keep
it's
forgetting.
it's like 225 or like
Yeah,
whatever.
it's 225.
Yeah, a support with 225 is dangerous, especially with the how big his like pellets are whenever he shoots. It's crazy. Like I
If
go up to
you
a
get in a
fight,
bad situation,
yeah, like you can't miss anybody with those like with his shots because it's a try shot and it's also massive hitbox. You can't you get pressured from the life weaver, and I feel like that's
yeah.
not something that he's supposed to be able to do.
See,
He's not
okay,
supposed to be
let's
able to
see.
defend himself, right?
Say what?
Like it's kind of like the same thing as Mercy, right? Mercy is not really supposed to be able to defend
Yeah.
herself. Like, is Life Weaver really supposed to be able to defend himself?
I feel like he's only gonna be viable if he can, because otherwise, you feel like, because say he did like break Life Weaver, bad habit, totally.
Yeah,
Like imagine doing that, and I feel like compare that to an Honor break. Like, which would you choose?
on a brig or
Yeah,
Life Weaver brig. I just don't have
yeah,
this answer. Like
Honor brig.
out of
Like
all
that's
the
not my issue.
yeah out of all the flex supports, they just do more. Like Ana, I'd even argue Moira is better than Life Weaver, and I know
I
I'm
would
I'm
say
an
Moira's
avid
better
Moira
than
here.
Life Weaver when played into the correct composition.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
on a brig, Life Weaver brig, it's an easy option.
I
And
think it's
go ahead.
I think it's gonna be a while. I think he'll find his place at some point in the meta, but for now at least, I think Life Lever is going to stay like at an undetermined spot. I think he's gonna be good and played a lot more at some point though, because of what
Maybe.
he can do.
Uh,
Like
I think it's. I just think his kit is. Uh, he's gonna have to be really, really, really good at everything
yeah,
for him to be played. Because, uh, like Ana and like Abap, they have their strengths. Like they have what they're good at. They have their gimmick, but they have like the thing that they're good at. Like, Ana has nade, Ana has sleep. Those things are that character defining. But Lifeweaver just doesn't enable his team as like Ana or Bap does.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just I don't think Lifeweaver has the thing that puts them into a meta, unless he's just overpowered.
Let's move on to the last one, Zen. So Zen's health is, instead of 200, 225. Holy moly, that's scary. I don't want to fight Zen ever again.
Yeah. So much for 1v1ing Zen as a Tracer. Like, you're just not, you can't one clip that anymore. Realistically.
Yeah, let's see. Harmony Orb, his healing orbs, also, it doesn't wear off as fast if someone walks off your line of sight. So they can keep it for 5 seconds instead of 3. The second they walk
Here's
out
my
of your line
change.
of sight.
Here's my change.
Yeah.
Put him back at 200. Reverse the kick. Discord tank becomes not 25 for sure. It's like 10 or like 15. But Orb can be kept on people behind walls, but you can only put them onto people if they're in like LOS of you in a certain range, right? I think that would be what I would do to fix Zen. It kind of keeps the Discord being good, but it's not as terrorizing on tanks. Zen is good with your flankers, right? And so that way they can go do flanker things no matter where they're at in the map. I mean, I feel like there would have to be like a range thing on the army board. I don't know.
That'd be hard to play around if you're a DPS or a flank.
Well, you just start with your Zen, and then Zen just doesn't change your orb, right? Like imagine they have a Sig Bap, Bastion, Tracer, right? We saw that in Overwatch League, right? With the Bastion Tracer. So imagine we put the Zen in there instead of the Brig, whatever, and we just perma orb your Tracer. And so no matter where she's at, she always has an orb. She always has like just a little mini right next to her, right? She's never gonna die. But then again, Zen will never have an orb on anybody else except for her. And then Discord, we can just change that. I don't know how we're gonna change that because Discord is it's hard in 5v5.
I think it'd be interesting to see as a change. I would just worry at the implications of putting a permanent orb on your Tracer.
Yeah.
I like, even if it's just on them, that's so much value.
Yeah, maybe lower the healing on it, but I think it ups the like the gimmick, right? Like that's what like Ana and Bap have what they're really good at. Ana has any nade and Ana has sleep. Bap has Immor, Bap has a lot of healing and DPS, right? But we have that for Zen already, right? With Discord. But Discord is you know? And so we change what he is good at by kind of changing what he plays around. He plays around for flankers because Zen, one, it's hard for Zen to like defend himself as a squishy, right? And as like a support. It's hard for you to defend yourself if like the monkey goes on you or the Tracer like fights you. But if you have that to where the character that she's enabling is also good against Zen, then you kind of go in the mirror is who's the better Tracer Zen. If the Zen can defend himself, then he's good. If the Tracer can just kill the Zen, then whatever. Like I just feel like that's I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I think that'd be fun to watch. Is Tracer Zen mirror comp like that, where both Tracers just have an infinite orb and they're just shooting each other from 10 meters away, not being able to do any damage because they got permanent orb.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see. But keep moving on here. I believe. So you were talking about how Zen terrorizes tanks.
Yeah.
So with his Orbit Discord, he can no longer reapply it to the same target for 7 seconds. This is going to require Zen players to be a lot smarter if their orb uses.
I still think they just plop it on the tank and don't even change it because that's already what they're doing, right?
But now instead of permanently getting Discord every time I swing an angle,
yeah, that's true.
They put it on me. I wait for like 3 seconds, then I walk out and they can't Discord me for the next 7. Nice change. Feel happy I'm not getting blown up.
Yeah, for sure. I do like that change. Now that you
But to buff they increased the range from 30 to 40 meters, which is huge because Zen was being played a lot less, especially compared to Alari because of the
DPS potential.
debuff to the range.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna be seeing a lot more Zen played now, especially on like maps like Circuit.
Yeah. I do. I think the circuit change. This is kind of something I talked to you about today in my my practice for Oath. Is we talked about comps maps that have their own meta, and I think that would be, I think that's better than a meta for everything, right? Because Circuit Royale, ever since this release of Overwatch 2, has had its own meta.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what the meta was. If it was Monkey, Tracer, Sombra, you still played Sig, or Ram on Circuit, maybe even Zarya. That it had its own meta because of how the map was designed. I
think,
like that.
Yeah, because Circuit is best for poke, and it's gonna be like that. It's a long map with a bunch of giant corridors. So yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
What? Sorry about what?
Okay. Funny story. My sister.
You wanna get on the Maui?
Yeah, go ahead. But really quickly, my sister, who never texts me or calls me, just called me, and I'm just kind of confused. So.
Okay.
But,
That's a vibe.
you know, like you never text your brother or whatever, and then they finally text you or they call you, or like something.
Oh no, he texts me with the most legitimately insane memes all the time. It makes me go mental.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So Mauga, also known as Maui. I'm just gonna say Maui.
Yeah, because I cannot pronounce that name yet. I have to like play in it for a while.
Mauga. It just doesn't roll off the tongue. Maui's better. Yeah, but Maui, what's your thought so far, Will?
Okay,
you played him
from
yet?
what I've seen is I think what they've done with his like primary fire and his weapon stuff is a good idea. Kind of about him being good at good at close range, but past 10 meters he just is awful. I think he's gonna be a Koth like warlord, right? He's gonna be good at holding down the point, but not. I think the idea that they have with the ultimate is like a good idea, but if it isn't made properly, designed properly, it can be awful. I think the gimmick should be if they break the shield that surrounds them, then the ult just it's completely canceled. I think that's what it is.
That is right now.
Yeah.
If you break the shield, it's just gone.
Yeah. I think it should be maybe it could be like kind of like Life of Your Tree. There's something in the middle that holds them all together, like a pole. And so if you break the pole, then the chains are like broken or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's see if I can find a page for it, but just to explain the basics of his character. So basically they have, I'll just let it practice range just so I can pull from the game's resource of whatnot.
We're not doing that. Yeah. I think the weird part about Maugi that I don't know why they put in is his charge. I think that is kind of weird to me because
his charge is crazy.
Yeah, it's really good, but what's the point of Rhine charge now? It has worse steering. It can be canceled. I think the only thing, the difference is it can catch people in the charge and kill them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I feel like a Rhine charge though is still going to be valuable, and Rhine charge, it's going to have its place, and yeah, the Maui's thing's going to be better, but imagine putting that on Rhine.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
You just can't. That would be disgusting.
I do like how
that's how you buff Rhine. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I like how you can counterpin the unstoppable charge. Have you seen that yet? The two Mauis.
Yeah, that's already happened to me in games. It was like, what the crap, man? I thought this thing was not supposed to be stoppable.
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny. You pen, and the Maui just goes right through you.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But to explain the basics of his character so far, so he has two chain guns, and pretty much. So the first one, The big thing with these guns is they have a rev up times. Like it doesn't shoot immediately like most characters.
Mhm.
So if you're playing Maui, you're gonna have to keep those revved up over time, so you can when you swing around a corner, you don't have to rev it up and start shooting with it. So that's a big thing to worry about if you're playing them. And
I think like the revving up, you mean like the speed that it fires at, right?
yeah, because like it's since it's a chain gun, it doesn't immediately shoot. You have to
Yeah.
hold down left click for like half a second, and then it starts shooting.
I don't think that's gonna matter too much. I think it's a little micro thing.
It's a little micro thing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but I think the main thing is like that's up for debate because that's one of the things also about hero design is kind of like the summer rework. There's not really a play style yet for that hero, and if there's not an obvious play style, then people have to like experiment about it, right? And that's what I like about like I think this hero is gonna have to find a play style. Are you gonna do both? Are you gonna shoot both miniguns at once? Or are you gonna shoot one to trigger the flame to do that
Mm,
so that way you have better accuracy, right?
yeah.
Because that's one of the things that he
Because
does is whenever he shoots both, he loses accuracy past like 10 meters. Whenever he
yeah.
shoots one, he's got pretty good range, but not the best damage. And so
So
that's
like
kind of what people are going to figure out. And I think it's maybe already set in stone, but people can figure it
yeah. So because his first gun is a chain gun, but this one sets people on fire after hitting a certain amount of bullets. Let me double check. I think it was like 15,
out. Yeah, but he has 300 shots, right?
13 shots on average for me. Yes, 300 bullets. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
300 bullets, but
Yeah.
that he shares the ammo for both
Yeah.
guns. I think that's
But
cool.
pretty much, yeah. But pretty much he has that sets things on fire, and then his second gun does more damage to specifically on fire targets. So
Yeah,
a lot of cycle, unless you're close range, will be setting a target on fire, then using a right click gun to deal the critical damage. But you can also shoot both. So when you're usually up close to an enemy, you can hold down both triggers and get the fire and the critical damage, and you're still shooting the left click. And if they're that close, if they're like in your face, you do not need to worry about the spread most of the time.
yeah,
So that's usually the cycle is if you're trying to spam from a distance, you use the left click to apply the status effect and then right click. But what I've also realized is the left click where the status effect wears off. So usually, at least for me, I'll apply it, use the right click, and then I'll try going back to the left click after a second to
yeah,
keep the fire applied. Because it doesn't. If you click on them again with it, it doesn't like you don't have to hit another 13 shots every time to apply the fire. If you just tap them once, it'll keep the fire going.
yeah.
That's what I've realized. So spam usually just trying to keep the status effect of fire on while also getting the most amount of damage, and then close range you're trying to just use both to deal the most amount of damage possible.
I think they should classify the fire effect a little bit differently because one, the ash fire does trigger it, right? That he does do whenever they're burning with ash fire, does it
Yeah.
do crit damage? And if so, I think always having somebody on fire basically because you're basically just always going to be having your left click down while playing this hero, and I feel like you're gonna have to change a little bit on the fire, so that way people aren't every 4 seconds on a match. So that way, whenever I'm like playing my game, I'm not being distracted by a
Yeah,
freaking main over here.
I think it's classified different because I was playing with some friends and they said that when they use health packs, it didn't cleanse the fire effect.
Huh?
So I believe it is, and I think they have a. Let me double check.
I think
I'm pretty sure
to
Maui's
do
fire is a darker shade of red.
yeah, I think it is,
Let me
but
check.
I think the
No, it's the
burning.
same
I
shade.
think it really shouldn't do burning damage. I think it should just be like a mark on somebody, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, the mark I don't know because then like if you have marks in this game are ridiculous, like a Zen orb off cooldown,
Yeah,
pretty much on the target.
but
That's like what it would be like.
yeah, but it will be a mark for only one person. And so it could be like a client side mark, um, whereas it's not everybody gets to see the mark every in the server, right? Is that how
Yeah.
Maui? I haven't played against Maui. I haven't played with Maui, right? I mean, yeah,
Mm.
I haven't played Overwatch since the patch day. So I haven't touched him, and I haven't played against him, with him, or whatever. I haven't even played the hero. So do you get to see whenever Maui sets people on fire?
Do I get to see?
Like if you're playing a support or DPS, do you get to see who Maui sets on fire?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's just a lot of clutter, right?
It's a little cluttered. I don't know, it just makes them more red. It makes me want to hit them more.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
won't lie. This looks like they're one a lot more to me, but yeah.
It's just I think it's just distracting. I think from what I could tell, I watched I was at work and I was watching an ML7 and Craigie stream, so um, and I just felt like I couldn't focus on anything behind the tank, right? Because it's set on fire.
Yeah. It's a little over the top, but I think
Yeah,
it'll be easy to identify things afterwards at some point.
yeah.
Let's see. So then his first ability, so also just to point out, he has 550 health at the base level,
Five
but he
hundred or 600?
gains, it's 500, hold on, I have the over health buff I was about to talk about. Let me
I think it
swap
was
that.
650. That's what I remember watching.
500 health, and he can go up to
Oh, are
650
you in the
health as
practice
over
range?
health. Yeah.
Then
just to double check
650.
that.
So he has 650 L, and the
Yeah,
E ability I don't understand yet. So I think you should talk about
I can
it.
explain that one.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on. It just gives him lifesteal, I think.
But pretty much every shot he takes here, by the way, will give him over health, so he can go from 500 health to 650 health in like a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mhm.
But his E ability, I don't have it on E in my computer, but it doesn't matter. So basically, it like all your teammates around you will take reduced damage, and I don't know if it includes you take reduced damage exactly, but you'll for sure be getting healed because everyone in your range, including you, whatever you shoot, you heal pretty much. Which is, it's like Junker Queen shout, but the only difference is you have to be kind of like proactive and you have to keep shooting things to get value.
Yeah.
But it's an outright insane
I think
because
there's gonna have to be some changes.
just what I've seen is you apply this and you start shooting a tank, you just don't die. And if you're hitting the critical hits, you definitely don't die.
Yeah.
Because also with the health gain, it has to be critical hits, like on hits.
Well, that's true. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think
So I think that
go ahead.
you're saying.
I think it's an interesting thing that they brought to the game. And at this point, like in Overwatch, where they keep adding stuff that like I'm not sure if I want it in the game or not, right? Because it's it's weird. It's like different, and I've been playing this. You played this game for 6 months without any hero changes, and you're like, I like it like this, right? I like it how it is. But then they add new stuff, and it's different, and I haven't played with it, and I'm just uncomfortable to it. Whatever. I think that's like where I'm at right now. Is they're adding new stuff, and it's making me like it's kind of freaking me out.
You got the. You're so used to not getting content.
Yeah, I'm not used to getting a little bit of like just a
Just not even a lick.
yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's pretty exciting though.
Yeah.
But his shift, very good in combination with his team and in combination for himself because you can sustain for a long time, especially if you're shooting a tank and hitting all those headshots, getting healing and gaining over health.
Mm-hmm.
But then his next ability is a Reinhardt charge, like me and Will were talking about just a little ago. So pretty much it's a Reinhardt charge, but you can't get stunned out of it. The only way you get stunned out of it if you get stun locked by like say a Brick Bash or a Dim Punch or a Reinhardt charge. If you can light up one of those, you'll get stunned.
Oh yeah, just counter
Otherwise,
pinning
you
or
don't.
whatever.
You're saying?
You have to just counter pin it to stop it. You can't
Yeah.
stop it with like a Cassinade or a hack or whatever.
Yeah. Like it's very strong to clear space, and basically at the end of this charge, you can jump and hit a stomp, and it'll stun enemies around you and knock them in
Stun?
the air. Yeah.
It's like a
Well, I think
pile
you have
drive.
to. It's kind of like pile drive, but horizontal instead of vertical.
Huh.
I think you have to land right next to them, though. Yeah, you do have to
Okay,
land right next to them, though, to stun them.
that's
If they're
good.
like a little away from your hitbox, though, they will just get knocked in the air, which is still pretty good. But
Uh,
I think this ability is really good for taking space, clearing space, and it's also really good when you're in those close engagements. You can just stun the enemy
just go down a
right on
hallway.
top of you.
Who do you
Yeah.
think he's gonna play well with? Like, what characters is
Uh,
he synergized with?
okay. I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me explain the ult, and then I think I'll be able to explain my thesis fully on
Yeah,
this character.
go ahead.
Yeah, but then his ultimate is like a Winston bubble without the top.
Yeah,
And pretty much you plop it down, it lasts for 10 seconds, and everyone inside this bubble is tethered to the center of the bubble. And pretty
including
much what the
yourself.
bubble does is you can't walk out of the bubble, nor can you yourself who put down the bubble. And you're just locked in, and it's pretty much like you're pretty much in a tiny arena. It's like a battle to the.
Yeah, kind of like ISO,
And what I
but
found it
different.
being useful for so far is it's very strong at isolating targets and splitting teams. It's kind of like a May wall
Yeah.
or a Winston bubble because it's literally pretty much a Winston bubble.
One of the funniest things that I've seen so far is two Maugis pop their ult at the same
Use
time.
it,
Yeah,
dude.
but
It's
it
so
overlaps.
ridiculous.
It overlapped a little bit to where
Yeah.
there's this little area of the bubble where if you're in that whenever the second ult is popped, you're stuck. Because
Wait, they're getting like, caught in between it.
yeah, so if the Maui is on the
No.
outside of his bubble and on the edge of
That,
another one, he can't get out.
so they're just squashed in
You're just
between.
squashed in between. Okay, but the
That
thing is,
might be meta. Like
yeah,
that might be how you have to play that in the mirror. That's so funny.
yeah, it is crazy. And I want to see
Uh,
that happen a lot because that
yeah.
sounds so interesting.
It is a destroyable bubble. It has 100. It has like 1,500 health. It does.
Yeah,
And
I think that's just the meta is just breaking it. Like you just have to because or else you're dead. Because they
it's
mail
very yeah.
Alariol it. They
Oh, and then you can combo with ults like Bastion ult, Dragon,
yeah.
Mail. And
Oh my
also if you
gosh,
die, it doesn't go away. So it's
that's
a insane ultimate ability.
I like how it's not
There's
like
so much.
tied to him. It's
It makes it real. They might need to do that though because there's so much play potential, but also like I don't know, I've been thinking about it. Like
have
I
you
could
seen?
just
But
I could just make like this is kind of like like those Rhyme pins off the map,
yeah,
like to get the lock down a kill. It feels like that sometimes with the ult. I can't lie.
because I feel like you just isolate yourself with one person and maybe the tank and whatever, and your team just
Yeah,
walks
that's
into it and
that's
kills
the
it.
goal. Because if they want to help their teammate, they have to walk through the bubble. But now they're in the bubble, now they're stuck. So it's like a bunch of decision making.
Yeah. So who do you think Maugi synergizes well with?
Yeah. So the meta so far in this game has been very poke centric,
Uh huh.
which is why we've seen lots of Sigma and Orisa, and then in Dive Doom. Because overall, Doom, he can do poke, but he can also dive.
Yeah.
And I feel like Orisa and Sigma shut down Diva quite a bit. That's why those three have mainly been played, and you can see that for the most part in World Cup.
Yeah. I think the
I
reason
think,
why Doom is being played is because his cycles are so fast.
yeah,
Because he
but I
can.
think the reason Maui's being is such a good addition right now to the game is because of the Sigma meta. I think he's gonna break it with his kit.
Yeah.
So I think he's still pretty good at poke. I don't think he's the best. If I were to compare him to Sigma and Orisa, I think he's the worst out of those. Like, if we put all three of those together, but he's still absurdly freaking good.
Yeah.
So, but like the big thing, he's gonna be better in the brawl mirror, which is why I think Lucio is gonna be good with this character. And the way Maui is made, like if this guy's charging at you with his charge, you can't just rock it.
Yeah.
you it's ludicrous. And
You gotta burn him.
his
You got to.
yeah, and his E, like hits if you're just shooting into a Sigma or just a spam comp that's so grouped, you're gonna live. And if you've already closed that distance, you're gonna have so much damage dealt, you're probably not going to die, and you're gonna be able to out resource a whole entire Sigma comp, which has been the
Yeah.
main comp everyone's been running.
But the thing that I see happening is the Maui pins in or whatever. He just gets
Yeah.
Maywalled, right? no help. He doesn't have an
But then you just
escape.
shoot the tank and hit the shift, the
Yeah,
E.
but they're playing. If they're playing Ana, you just get naded, right? You hit it at the wall, they just
So
splash the wall.
yeah, that's my only worry is Ana. Ana's been a pain to
Ana's
play.
really good against him and really good with him because
Yeah.
like one of the chatters said, the 20% more healing is insane because you just nade your Maui, you healing him and the health heal, he literally won't die. It's kind of like Ram with his block. It's the same thing. You just won't die because you take 90. I don't know.
It's truly insane. That's my one worry with Ana, which is why instead of Bap, maybe Kiri would be better with this character.
Cleanse.
The more I think about it.
You just TP to him. Oh, it's 50%. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just have like a Suzu right
Yeah.
there.
TP. Oh no,
And
he's
he has,
walled.
yeah,
Oh, he's
and he
dying.
already this character already has so much sustain that you probably don't even need a Bap for sustain
Yeah, for sure.
this character. So I think that the inclusion of this character is going to be huge at this time right now because I think the poke heavy. I think we're going to go from poke heavy comps to more brawly comps,
Yeah.
and
I like
we'll
that. I think it's
see.
gonna be fun. A mix up
Yeah,
because we've done dive poke and now we're gonna do brawl.
yeah. Because instead of poke being the strongest thing, I feel like right now when it comes to these metas, I think it's going to be brawl because we can close this distance. And Malian to dive is not an issue really. He just burns every tank that tries doing anything, and he can tag everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I've realized. So I think Maui is going to change the meta, and he's as ideal comp just based off this talk and what I thought of before. I would say would probably be like Maui, May, Sojourn, Cherry, Lucio, probably
Got you. Got you.
because the May allows you to wall stuff in to allow your Maui to do
Yeah, I'll
stuff.
literally run him down.
Hard sustain. It combos well with your ult. Sojourn has pressure from a different angle, which is great.
What do you think about the sim with
Sim could be good. Sim is underrated as heck right now. Sim could be good as a character for TP.
Yeah, because you set him like in a different spot than what you expect him to see, right? Um, like you TP your Maui to the next corner forward, right? And he won't be able to be killed because you're a corner back, you're not being contested, and you just keep healing your Maugi. Uh, I just feel like it's gonna be huge. I think Sim is also gonna be really good with him as well. I think any brawl comp, swap the
Yeah.
Rhine out with a Maugi, you're gonna be fine. Your just rotations are gonna be a little bit harder for your team because you don't have a shield or whatever. So the
I
sim
think
might
it's
be
good.
so the sim might be good for rotations.
Yeah. I think Sim's gonna be good in Brawl Comp in general. Sim is getting
Yeah, always has been, always
primarily
will.
by Sim, which is gonna be good for rotation as well. So I think, as Ego suggesting, also Maui, Ash, May or Sim, and Lucio Ana. That's another good comp too. Like I feel like it's gonna be heavily based around Brawl comps, but with like I don't know if it's gonna be a more sustained Brawl comp or if we're gonna be having Brawl comps with more with a faster pace, like more hit and run. Like you're not because like the meta
Tempo like JQ probably.
we have when it comes to Brawl, when we see Brawl, it's pokey Brawl. It's not a
It's
brawly
JQ.
Brawl.
It's like
Yeah.
The Sigma comp
Like
can
think like
brawl.
JQ comps, yeah. Because like when we're talking about Brawl comps, we're thinking like usually Orisa or a Sigma Brawl, really, if you want to,
Yeah,
and it's very it's very pokey despite being Brawl. So I wonder if this is gonna be a very pokey type of character still, or if it'll be heavy like a Junker Queen, just running it down
yeah,
and using resources fast and not planning to get them back later in the fight.
yeah. I think that basically kind of wraps up today's podcast, episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we've talked about it a little bit. We talked about the new hero, new balance patch, Overwatch World Cup. Uh, but I think that's what we got for episode 1. What do you think, Lime? Any thoughts?
I think that's fine. I promise we'll have Valorant next week.
Yeah.
I promise.
One of the problems is that is we have 2 Overwatch players, and we're supposed to talk about
I
Overwatch
watch
and everything.
Valorant, but I'm not playing it every day
Yeah.
for more than an hour or two.
Uh. Oh, we're not gonna be doing this. We're gonna be doing this weeklies on Fridays at 8 o'clock CST. So we'll come back next week. We might talk about the week's matches. I'm gonna try and watch them, even though I don't watch them
Yeah, well,
live.
is it finals this week?
Oh yeah, that's true. We have finals.
We get to talk about that.
Yeah, we have. Oh,
I'm
wait,
so excited.
we'll have the podcast before finals, so we might have no matches. That's true. All right. I'll see you guys next week, or just around in the Discord server. Oath is sponsored by Fast Cap and Gamer Advantage. Give them a look up. I'll see you guys later. Wait, he wants a prediction for finals, but I'll see you later. We'll do that on Friday. All right.
I'll send my predictions in the Discord.
Yeah.
Or for the bracket. Well, I don't know what the bracket is, but I'll send it in there, just for the fun of it.
Alrighty.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Alrighty. I think we're good then. I'm gonna keep it streaming for a little bit longer. Just for like a second.